Today, I've partnered up with Sony to run a giveaway for you legendary Sony Xperia fans, and it is what I consider to be one of the best compact gaming devices ever made to date. It is the Sony Xperia 5 Mark II. Yes, it's true, this phone could have your name on it. And you've got to be in it to win it. So I'm going to make it really easy to enter. It's literally going to be 2 simple steps. Number 1, drop me a comment below this video with your favorite Xperia 5 Mark II feature. And before I reveal what step 2 is, I think I should justify why I believe the Sony Xperia 5 Mark II is one of the best gaming devices right now by giving you 5 reasons. Are you ready? Let's go. So the Sony Xperia 5 Mark II is one of the only smartphones right now with a widescreen 21:9 display, which means you get a wider peripheral vision than most of your opposition, which is going to give you more of a tactical edge. Like what I did there? But that's not all. This 21:9 Full HD OLED panel also supports 120Hz refresh rate, which means there's more frames in your game. And where some devices stutter and stumble under heavy gaming, the Sony Xperia 5 Mark II always delivers a fluid and smooth gaming experience, and it really is something to behold. And this is largely thanks to its display, but Sony have taken it even further with its motion blur reduction software, and I'm gonna run the risk of oversimplifying this here, but I think I should do it. The motion blur reduction software on the Sony Xperia 5 Mark II uses a similar software to Sony Bravia televisions. Essentially what it does is it adds frames in between the existing frames, giving you the appearance of a smoother playback and a 240Hz refresh rate. I hope that makes sense. And that's not all. Sony have made this even better because they've combined the smoothness of this 120Hz display with the 240Hz motion blur reduction with a 240Hz touch sampling rate, which means not only do you have a wider field of view, a really fast refresh rate, but you're also getting one of the most responsive touchscreens in the business. And I heard that the Sony Xperia 5 Mark II was actually the first device in the world to be able to run Call of Duty Mobile multiplayer at 120Hz. Now, why am I telling you this? Well, I'm telling you this because not only are we going to be giving away the phone, but we're also going to be giving away 18,360 Call of Duty points as well. Number 2, so how can Sony take the gaming prowess of the Sony Xperia 5 Mark II even further? Well, it's quite simple really, with software. The software that eliminates unnecessarily used random access memory and clears all of the power intensive apps and focuses all of the power on your gaming experience. And it's called the Sony Xperia Game Enhancer. And this Game Enhancer software has more tools in it than Batman's utility belt. So some of the highlights here being the features like the ability to live stream whilst capturing selfie video and audio footage. Also, there's a built-in search interface that helps you to discover tips and tricks if you get stuck. And there's a ton more gaming specific tweaks, like a dedicated performance mode for those really important gaming sessions and the ability to adjust the touch sampling rate and sensitivity of the display. But there's one feature here that I think is worthy to stand alone. Now, some of you might know this and some of you might not, but when you run graphic intensive games on any device, what tends to happen is the central processing and graphics units tend to heat up. That's why you see these massive fans in gaming rigs and other devices to keep those elements cool. And when these elements get too hot, what normally happens is there's a software on board to protect these elements, which reduces the performance of the device to allow those elements to cool. Once they cool down, they can then ramp up the performance again. So you'll have dips in your performance. Now, smartphones suffer the same fate, but they also have another problem to solve, and that's the heating of the battery. So what Sony have done here is really clever. Essentially what the HS pass-through will do is eliminate the power going through the battery, therefore it's not going to heat up, which means it's going to keep your CPU and your GPU even cooler, and it will help to prevent any performance throttling of your device. And combine that with the Sony Xperia 5 Mark II's graphene cooling system, you've got a device that stays cool under pressure so that you can earn those well-deserved wins. Number 4, so what's under the hood is super important, and the Xperia 5 Mark II is no slouch, and in fact it has the same processing unit as its bigger brother, the flagship, the Sony Xperia 1 Mark II, combined with a really respectable amount of RAM. And when it comes to performance versus last year's Sony Xperia 5 Mark I, the performance of the CPU and the GPU are up 25%. You've also now got a better modem that supports 5G, Sub-6 and Wi-Fi 6. To put it simply, the Sony Xperia 5 Mark II arguably has the best 2020 chipset powering it, and combine that with maybe the cleanest version of Google Android that you can get on any device. I've even heard people say it's cleaner than the Pixel devices. That makes for a really solid operating system and platform to game on. So there are way more than 5 reasons, but I wanted to make this one the 5th one, because if you win this Sony Xperia 5 Mark II, we will also be giving you the COD points and an official Sony DualShock 4 cradle for the phone. But check this out, what's the point of having the cradle if you don't have a DualShock controller? Well, good news, we're also going to give you a DualShock 4 controller with the prize, the Sony Xperia 5 Mark II. And if there was ever a phone that was designed to work best with a PS4, it is the Sony Xperia 5 Mark II. You can wirelessly remote play your PS4 games on your phone with a DualShock 4 controller, sort of turning your phone into maybe the most powerful portable gaming device on the planet. And as well as that, you can use the 3.5mm headphone jack for the fastest lag-free audio possible. In combat, the milliseconds could be the difference of you winning or losing. So you need your sound to sync up with your incredibly fast display here on the Xperia 5 Mark II. Do you see what I'm saying here? Lag-free audio is very important when gaming, and the Sony Xperia 5 Mark II gives you that. So that's my top 5 reasons, and now here's what you've been waiting for. Step 2 on how to enter the competition. First of all, hit the subscribe button. Okay, that's not actually it. So below this video is a link to gleam.io where you can gain entries into the competition. You can get a single entry just by re-watching this video. But if you want to give yourself a better chance with more entries, there are other interactions you can do on my social media pages. That's entirely up to you. The power is in your hands. And if you win, the power of the Sony Xperia 5 Mark II can be in your hands as well. So I really appreciate you guys who've watched all the way to the end. Hit me up a little bit of fire emojis in the comments if you made it this far into the video. And if you just subscribed, you are truly legendary and one of the finest subscribers known to man. And I really appreciate you guys. And if you want to check out some of my other videos on the Sony Xperia 5 Mark II, they're on screen right now. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Don't be late.